So, so everyone, this is Srimad Bhagavatam. We have to introduce our most important member here. This is Srimad Bhagavatam. We have brought only 6 books here, but there are total of 12 cantos, 18 books. You know how Bhagavad Gita is one book and has 700 verses. This is Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the next level of study. It's full of stories about Krishna, and it is considered as basically a deity of Krishna. It's a vigraha. It's a granth avatar of Krishna. Like Krishna avtarit incarnated in the form of book in this age is Srimad Bhagavatam. So actually, the first 2 cantos, the first 2 books of Srimad Bhagavatam are compared to the 2 feet of Krishna, which we are going to talk about today. But please consider, whoever does not have Srimad Bhagavatam at their home, please consider inviting Srimad Bhagavatam into your house, and we'll do Bhagavatam installation. You can read every day a verse, 2 verse, 10 verses, whatever you would like. Even if you don't read and you just have Srimad Bhagavatam, it's extremely pious, and Krishna sees your sincere effort to invite him into your house. So he runs towards you. So at least that's what we saw with us, that when we invited Srimad Bhagavatam, we did not know anything about it, and we were not reading. We just had it in our house in the temple, had no clue what this has, but slowly the arrangements were made by Krishna so that we could start reading it, we could start going deep into it and understand its knowledge, and Krishna started revealing himself through the pages of Bhagavatam to us. So a lot of what I'm going to talk today is from various books of Srimad Bhagavatam today, and I'll put those verses up. If you want, we don't have the entire Bhagavatam here, but if you want, you can open these books, or you can just read from what I'm pulling online. We do have a new set of Srimad Bhagavatam with us. If anybody wants to take one today for themselves, for their friends, to give donation, anything, we have one today. But let's get started. We'll say some prayers. Whoever knows the prayers, please join in. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manubhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padkamlam Shri Guru Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Satam Sajivam Sadhvetam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा. मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानंद माधवं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य ईश्वरं गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्ण भक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः. हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this is a deep meditation on Krishna's lotus feet. So please think about Krishna's feet. Okay, this is that Krishna is a person. He has a form, right? He has a face, a lalat. He has a chest, arms, body, legs, thighs, and feet. Out of his whole body, his feet is what is most important for us. So as devotees, as sadhakas, his feet are the priority for us. Okay. So today we'll just try to focus on his feet and see how his feet are glorified in Srimad Bhagavatam by various devotees. What is the importance of those feet? How, by taking shelter of Krishna's feet, what is the benefit? Okay. So let's do deep meditation, take a deep dive on Krishna's lotus feet. So we'll start with a verse. This verse, okay, before we get started, on some of the slides, this may be fun for kids. I don't know where kids went. Okay, okay. Can you call Navya? She needs to sit. Okay, but whoever is here, and even grown-ups, some of the slides I have put some names or synonyms for Krishna's feet. Okay, so you see, like this slide says Pad Pallava, right? So such I have put some words, and at the end, let's see who can remember some words, some synonyms, and give me some. Okay. So first of all, it's always called lotus feet. You know? Why do we say lotus feet? Kamal, Charan Kamal. So the reason is we always compare everything with lotus. You know? His eyes, his abdomen, his navel, his face, but especially his feet. And the reason to compare with lotus is because if has anybody ever seen like a blue lotus flower? It's very rare. It's very rare actually. We have seen I don't know where we saw, either in Mayapur or Vrindavan, one of the kundas. Somewhere we saw blue lotus flowers. It's very rare, but and remember, this is a flower of this world. But when we compare Krishna to lotus, his feet to lotus, we are comparing to the lotus flower of the spiritual world. But even in this world, if you look at the lotus flower, it's very soft. It's very beautiful. The bluish hue is nothing that, it's not comparable to anything. It's very effulgent and bright. It's very aromatic, very fragrant. So it has a lot of qualities, especially the softness and the beauty is why Krishna, we don't have anything in this world. Just chand sa chehra, because the chand is the only thing we have nearest to compare with anybody's beauty. So what is the best thing we have with which we can compare a bluish colored person? We have a blue lotus flower. So that's why we say lotus. And we have not even seen this blue lotus of the spiritual world that we are comparing with. But remember, it's soft, it's beautiful, it's effulgent, it's fragrant. Okay. So that's why we say, we always have these synonyms, like Pad means feet and Pallav means lotus. So like we say Charan Kamal, or we say Padambuja or Pankaj Angri. Angri means feet and Pankaj means lotus. Ambuj means lotus. Then Pallav means lotus. Kamal means lotus. So there are so many. Charanam Bruham. Ambruham means lotus. So like that, there are so many synonyms. And I have scattered some synonyms on some slides. So see if you can remember. But let's do this verse. This verse was offered by Lord Brahma to Krishna at the end of the Brahma Vimohan Leela. Some of you are familiar with this Leela. We covered this Leela in detail on Janmashtami last year. I think many of you were there. How Brahmaji got confused and stole all the cowherd boys, gopas, and calves and gopas. And finally, when he realized Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he offered many, many prayers to Krishna. So this is from 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 14th chapter, verse 58. It's a very beautiful verse. So let's recite it 2 or 3 times, okay? Samashritaye pad pallava plavam padam punya yasho murare bhavam budam vats padam param padam 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 yad vipadam natesham. Once more. Samashritaye pad pallava plavam Mahadpadam punyayasho murare Bhavam budam vatspadam param padam 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 yad vipadam natesham. Once more. Samashritaye padapallava plavam Mahadpadam punyayasho murare Bhavam buddhivatspadam param padam 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 yad vipadam natesham. Who knows this verse? Who has memorized this verse? It's a memory verse. So how many times the word padam or pad comes in this? It's a beautiful, like Srimad Bhagavatam is very lyrical, okay? It's very musical, very rhythmical. So you see, in the Sanskrit is work of pure genius here. So the word padam is used so many times, and you see Krishna's lotus feet are described in 3 words here, okay? I'll point it out to you. Pad Pallav, which I had written here. Pad Pallav means lotus feet of Krishna. Mahat Padam. Mahat, what is Mahat? Mahat is material creation. Remember Mahat? Mahat Padam, the one that is the shelter, whose feet are the shelter of this entire material creation. Mahat Padam. The feet that give shelter to this entire material world are called Mahat Padam. So Mahat Padam also refers to Krishna's feet in this verse. And then Param Padam, the supreme destination for devotees. What is our supreme destination? Lotus feet of the Lord. So Parampadam. So Parampadam. So in this way, Pad Pallavam, Mahat Padam, and Parampadam. So this verse is saying, let's actually read the translation. Who wants to read this? Yes, Navya. Loudly.
Translation. To those who have accepted the boat of the lotus feet of the Lord, who is the shelter of the cosmic manifestation, is famous as Murari, the enemy of the Mura demon, the ocean of the material world. You love that Bhagavatam book? The blue one? The ocean of the material world is like the water contained in a calf's hoofprint. Their goal is Parampadam, Vaikuntha, the place where there are no material miseries, not the place where there is danger at every step.
Haribol. Thank you, Navya. So let's understand this verse. What do you think the size of the material ocean is? Bhavam Budhi. It says Bhavam Budhir, right? Immense. We cannot calculate. Very large. And have you seen a calf? Has anybody seen a calf? Gai ka bachcha? है ना? Vats. Usko vats bolte हैं Sanskrit में. Vats or calf. What does the hoof of a calf looks like? It's very small. So it says Bhavam Budhir Vats Padam. That those who have taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, okay, for them the material ocean, which is so vast and wide, becomes as small as the water contained in the hoof print of a calf. Okay, so if calf made a hoof print in some muddy sand, muddy road, then the water that is contained in that muddy hoof print, that's the water that it becomes. So the immense material ocean just gets converted into this small hoof print, so you can cross over easily. Plus, it says, the first line says, Samashritaye pad pallava plavam. Plavam means boat. Pallav ho gaya kamal, plavam means boat. The lotus feet of the Lord act like the boat for those that have taken his shelter of his lotus feet, and the whole material ocean shrinks to the size of the water contained in a calf's hoof print. And to those people, padam yad vipadam natesham. So they get supreme destination or Parampadam, the supreme abode. Plus, what else doesn't happen to them? No danger, no vipatti. Padam yad vipadam natesham. At every step there is danger in this world. Padam. Har step pe there is danger in this world. But to those people that have taken the shelter of the boat of the lotus feet of the Lord, they can not only cross over this material world, they can not only achieve the supreme destination, but they have no danger even while living in this world. So padam yat vipadam natesham. So koi vipatti vipada will not bother them. So this is what this verse is saying. This purport has been, if you know, some of you are familiar with Srila Prabhupada's life history, that he gave commentary up till chapter 13th of 10th canto. So this comes in chapter 14. So he finished till Brahma Vimohan Leela. But this purport has been taken from Bhagavad Gita chapter text 2.51. So anybody wants to read this a little, maybe loudly and clearly? Yes. ये पता नहीं जाएगा कि नहीं, यहाँ थोड़ा पास
According to Srila Sridhari Swami, this verse Sridhar Swami, this verse summarizes the knowledge presented in this section of Srimad Bhagavatam. Lord Krishna's lotus feet are described as pallav, flower buds, because they are most tender and of a pinkish hue. According to Srila Sanatan Goswami, the word Pallava also indicates that Lord Krishna's lotus feet are just like desired trees, which can fulfill all the desires of Lord's pure devotees. Even exalted devotees like Srinarada, who are themselves the great shelter for the conditioned souls in this universe, personally take shelter of the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna. Thus, it is natural that when Lord Krishna manifested himself as all the young boys and calves of Vrindavan, their parents were more attracted to them than previously. Lord Krishna is the reservoir of all pleasure and being all attractive, the ultimate object of everyone's love.
We both. Thank you, Mataji. So I think the purport is self-explanatory. But let's think about this. We always glorify Krishna's lotus feet. But typically, like for us, for example, feet are very disgusting, aren't they? Feet are very smelly. We have to keep them covered. If somebody took off their shoes or socks, it will stink up the whole place. And if I had to glorify someone, if I had to glorify Mataji, I'll say, oh, you're looking beautiful. Your hair is nice, nice bindi or sari or something. I won't say your feet are nice. Will I ever comment on somebody? You have fungus in the toenails and we keep them covered and we keep them tucked in actually. That's why we sit like this, right? So that the feet are tucked under us because our feet are actually very disgusting. So that tells you how we are so infinitesimal. We are such a, this material body cannot be compared to the Chinmay, the spiritual body of Krishna. So our most disgusting thing is Krishna's most beautiful thing. Is the shelter of the whole material creation, Mahatpadam. So imagine the importance that our material body that we have gained, that we have acquired because of our karmas is so disgusting that our feet are so repulsive. But for devotees, Krishna's lotus feet is our first priority. Okay, why is that? Let's go into that. Even Queen Kunti says in her prayers, what does she say? Nama Pankaj Nabhaya, Nama Pankaj Maline, Nama Pankaj Netraya, Namaste Pankaj Angraye. So Namaste Pankaj Angrai, Pankaj Angri. Pankaj Angri means lotus feet of the Lord. So all prayers that are offered in Srimad Bhagavatam, and there are so many prayers, always prayers are offered to the lotus feet of the Lord. Okay. So it is said that, okay, this is a blue lotus picture. And this is another word, Padambujam. Yeah? Now see why we have to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Bhagavatam says, Lord's chest. Who lives in the Lord's chest? Lakshmi Ji, goddess of fortune. His face is the drinking vessel for eyes which hanker after all that is beautiful. His arms are the resting places for demigods. Unki bhujaon mein devta vas karte hain. And his lotus feet are the refuge of pure devotees who never talk or sing of any subject except his lordship. So pure devotees, our acharyas, they're always hankering after the lotus feet of the Lord. And that's why, we are also hankering after the lotus feet of the Lord. So this verse was actually spoken by the queens of Dwarka when Krishna came back to Dwarka after that long hiatus when he was gone for war in Kurukshetra, and then he stayed in Hastinapur for a long time. Then when he was coming back on his entrance into Dwarka, queens offered him this prayer that, we like to live at your lotus feet. There are many, the Bhagavatam is full of the descriptions of the feet of the Lord. So I've just taken very few. And then this word is very beautiful in this verse. We don't have to read the verse, but Krishnangri Padma Madhu. Okay. So listen to this. Krishnangri is feet of Krishna. Padma means lotus. So lotus feet of Krishna. Krishna Angri means feet. Krishna Angri means feet of Krishna. Padma means lotus. Madhu, nectar. So we were saying that his feet are different. They're special than our feet because they are beautiful. They are fragrant. They are soft. There is this effulgence or brightness, shine coming out of them. But also there is a taste. Can you imagine? Taste. There is madhu. There is nectar in the feet of Krishna. So this verse is saying that devotees always lick the honey from the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. So now Krishna knows this, that my devotees are always trying to get the honey, madhu, off my lotus feet. See, such beautiful, beautiful soft feet Krishna has. That's why we drink Charnamrit. Don't we get Charnamrit in temple? Why is it called Amrit? It's Amrit because Krishna ke charnon mein Amrit, nectar rehta hai. So this Charnamrit comes from the Charan Padma, lotus feet of the Lord. That's why. So then Krishna has this desire. You know, Krishna gets these desires that there are certain desires he cannot fulfill. Did you know that? Okay, you didn't know that? There are certain things only devotees have access to, even Krishna does not have access to. So this is what he tries to do. He tries to taste the sweetness of his own feet. He thinks my devotees are relishing something in my feet that I do not have access to. There is some nectar, some honey that they talk about. Bhagavatam says that there is Krishnangri Padma Madhu. What is that Madhu? I want to taste that nectar. So there comes this story, okay? Some of you may know the story, but let's hear it. And we recently went to this place that is glorified by this great sage. Okay, so there was this great sage, Markandeya Rishi. Okay, Markandeya Rishi was a great worshipper of Lord Shiva. He did a lot of austerities, and then when Shiva appeared to him, he asked Lord Shiva for a boon. And he was not a very pure devotee at the time, so he asked for, just like we ask for things, he asked for a long life. Okay, so Shivji said, okay, I give you the life of 7 kalpas. You know what is 7 kalpas? A lot of times. 7 days of Brahma. 1 kalpa is 1 day of Brahmaji, right? So 7 kalpas is 7 days of Brahmaji. And how many yugas come in 1 day of Brahmaji? 1000 Chatur yugas come. So 7 kalpas means 7000 Chatur yugas. And in between there is night of Brahmaji. And during night, what happens? Annihilation. Annihilation happens. So when Markandeya Rishi got that boon, initially he was very excited. But then he got bored because all these people keep changing, all these people from his life keep disappearing. He would develop some attachment to people and they would leave, but he would keep living. And days were still okay. Day of Brahmaji was still okay. But when the night of Brahmaji comes, it is as long as the day. 12 hours of day and 12 hours of night. And in the night comes annihilation. And during annihilation, he has nothing to do. It's dark, it's cold, the waters, the black waters of annihilation. Jo pralay ka pani hota hai, it's very scary. He's very scared and he's swimming. Gote kha rahe idhar se udhar. Kya karu, samajh nahi aa raha. So he was swimming like this, very scared, very cold. And why did I ask this boon? And he hit a tree. Okay, he hit a tree. Did you see that tree this time? So the tree, he hit that tree. Okay, this tree was a banyan tree. Okay, a vat vriksh. It was a vat vriksh. He hit that tree, and as he hit that tree, he saw this vat patra. Okay, the leaf of the tree, vat patra. And on this big leaf, he saw this form of the Lord laying there, the Bal Gopal form, and sucking the toe. So when he saw this, he said, oh, something interesting finally, in this black, dark, cold water, something interesting to see. He said, Lord, what are you doing? Why are you putting your toe in your mouth? You are the supreme Lord of whole creation. You're putting your toe in your mouth. So Lord said, all the devotees, everybody is tasting the nectar of my feet, some madhu, some honey they talk about. I'm trying to taste it. I'm not getting it. So Markandeya Rishi said, you can't get it. This is not the way to taste the nectar of your feet. There is a process to follow. Right? There is a process. What is the process? Navda Bhakti, right? 9 limbs of devotional service. You have to perform devotional service. You cannot taste. You do not have access to this. Only devotees have access to the taste of your feet, the nectar of your feet. So you can put it in your mouth all day long. You will not understand this. So he said, but at least help me. So anyways, so then Lord took a big gulp of that water, and Markandeya Rishi went inside his belly. Lord gave him shelter inside his belly for the time of annihilation, and then he came out. When he came out, there was no water. He was sitting under this vat vriksh, okay? And this is the place known as Shri Purushottam Kshetra Jagannath Puri. So Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai. So he did a lot of austerities there, and there is a sarovar there, and then he got darshan of Shivji again. And this time, when Shivji came, he said, okay, do you want more long life? He said, no, I've learned my lesson. I don't want long life again. I want pure devotional service to Krishna. He said, okay, sit here and do for rest of your lifetime that's remaining, rest of the kalpas of Brahmaji that's remaining, sit here and do pure devotional service to the Lord. And I will sit right next to you also. Wherever devotees are sitting doing worship, Shivji always sits there too, like Sanatan Goswami sitting at Govardhan, so many places. So he sat there also, and that's called Markandeshwar. So वहाँ पे Markandeshwar का temple है, and Markande Sarovar भी है. So, and we saw the Bhat Vriksh, that is so glorious, this banyan tree. So this verse comes in Bhagavatam, where actually Mother Devahuti is saying, "You lie down." She says, the answer is that I'm just reading part of it. The answer is that it is possible for at the end of millennium, you lie down on the leaf of a banyan tree, and just like a small baby, you lick the toe of your lotus feet. This is Devahuti saying, completely separate time and some separate pastime going on. But this is a very well-known fact that during annihilation, Krishna is in this Bhat Patra Shai Roop. Shai means to lay down on the Bhat Patra. So this is the, let me show you the Markande Sarovar, and this is the Markande Sarovar and Markandeshwar temple. This is Swargdwar. We'll talk about more of these things tomorrow. But there is the Markandeshwar temple. You can see Shivji sitting there. And this is a Markande Sarovar. So, so now this pastime, okay. So we were talking about Charnamrit, right? What is the most famous Charnamrit? Looking at this picture, can anybody guess? Yes. Mother Ganga, yes, Janvima, right? So she's the most famous Charnamrit that exists in this world. So this is how, I think the story is very famous that Lord Vaman, when he came, he asked Bali Maharaj to give him 3 steps of land. He wanted to break the pride. He wanted to crush the pride of Bali Maharaj, because Maharaj was a king of demons and was very proud. But as we know that he's a pure devotee of the Lord, he said, "Why do you want just 3 steps of land? You're so small. Your 3 steps is nothing for me. Ask something more." He said, "No, just 3 steps is enough." And then you know the pastime, how Vaman Dev became so big. And in the first step, he covered the whole earth. In the second step, he covered the whole creation, material creation, right? And in the third step, he did not have any place to put. So Bali Maharaj said, "Put it on my head." So this is the nature of devotees. They take Krishna's feet on their head. Okay. But when that second step was taken, that time Vaman Dev's nail pierced the covering of this material world. There is a covering. When it pierced the covering, the causal ocean or Karana ocean, some drops from that Karana ocean trickled into the material world. And that drops of Karana ocean was the Mother Ganga. And she was still in heavenly planets. And then by the great austerity worship and prayers of a effort of a great devotee, great sage, Bhagirath, he brought Mother Ganga from the heavenly planets to the earth. But this is the Charnamrit. So Mother Ganga is so she touches the feet of Krishna. She is laying. Karana ocean is nothing where Mahavishnu or Karanodakshaya ocean is laying on Sheshnag, or that water is touching the feet of Mahavishnu, and then that water trickles into this material creation and is known as Ganga. And when Bhagirathi brought her down to earth, the flow was so tumultuous, so strong that it would have drowned the whole earth. The flow of Ganga, when she came down from heavenly planets of this world to this earth, it was so strong that it would have drowned everything. So then what happened? Who stepped up? Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva said, "I will hold Ganga, the Charnamrit of Vishnu, on my head." So he holds the Charnamrit on his head. He holds Mother Ganga on his head. And that's why all of us, we know the glories of Mother Ganga, है ना? एक dip लेने से कितने कितने पाप कट जाते हैं, है ना? थोड़ा सा गंगा का लोग पानी लाते हैं और drop लेते हैं तो कितने पाप कट जाते हैं. Bhagavatam itself says, Bhagavatam glorifies all these aspects of the lotus feet of Krishna. Bhagavatam says, "Nimnaganam yatha Ganga devanam achyuto yatha Vaishnavanam yatha Shambhu Purananam idam tatha Nimnaganam yatha Ganga." So we talk about all these 4 things today. Nimnaganam yatha Ganga. The things that flow down, the rivers, amongst the rivers, who is the best? The topmost? Mother Ganga. Devanam achyuto yatha. Who is the topmost amongst devas? Mahavishnu. Okay. Vaishnava Nam Yatha Shambhu. Who is the topmost Vaishnav? Shivji. Right? And Purana Nam Idam Tatha. Which is the best? Puran, Srimad Bhagavatam. So we will see how 4 of these, Shivji holding Charnamrit on his head. Mother Ganga is Charnamrit itself. Vishnu ji is the Supreme Personality of God or Supreme Lord. And the Bhagavatam that resembles the body of Krishna, and the first two cantos are the feet of the Krishna. Right? So, what does Shivji have to say about the feet of Krishna? Shivji says, okay, so as you know, when we go to take darshan in the temple, we have the deity of Krishna. What do we look at? Feet. Feet first. Always feet. Right? We don't take darshan of the face directly. Always look at the face or feet of Krishna. Right? And he's exposed, his feet are always exposed for everyone to look at. So, so look at this. The devotee should first, this is all coming from Bhagavatam, should first concentrate his mind on the Lord's lotus feet, which are adorned with the marks of a thunderbolt, gourd, banner, and a lotus. The splendor of their beautiful ruby nails, even the nails of Krishna's feet, it's described one nail is like a moon or millions of moons. ऐसा लगता है जैसे 10 चंद्रमा रखे हैं भगवान के पैरों पे. Resembles the orb of the moon and dispels the thick glooms of one's heart. The blessed Lord Shiva becomes all the more blessed by bearing on his head the holy water of the Ganges, which has its source in the water that washed the Lord's lotus feet. The Lord's feet act like the thunderbolts heard to shatter the mountains of sins stored in the minds of the meditating devotee. तो गंगा का पानी इसलिए पवित्र है क्योंकि वो भगवान के चरणों को छू के आता है. One should therefore meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord for a long time. So even if you don't look at the face of the deity, keep looking at the feet. That's our destination. That's our Paramgati. That's our Parampadam. So we don't need to worry about the face. Okay, फिर ये pastime. Is everybody enjoying the stories?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. So different stories have taken all these pastimes from Srimad Bhagavatam. We've talked about Ganga, about Shivji, about Markandeya Rishi. Now let's look at this pastime. This is so beautiful. When I read this pastime, this comes in 3rd canto. This is when the 4 Kumaras went to the doors of Vaikuntha to meet Krishna, okay, to meet Narayan. And at that time, they were stopped by the doorkeepers, Jay and Vijay. So they cursed Jay and Vijay. Then Lord realized, sitting inside, oh, my devotees have been cursed by these 4 Kumaras. And remember, the 4 Kumaras were impersonalists, okay? They did not believe in the form of the Lord. So Lord came running. And he's not wearing any shoes or slippers. He came running bare feet. Then imagine the scene. Okay, this scene is so beautiful. This verse, so beautiful. He comes running and they can hear, the 4 Kumaras can hear the tinkling of his anklets. And suddenly they're overpowered by the smell of what does Krishna's feet smell like? Tulsi. Smell of Tulsi. Smell of Tulsi wafted over them. Okay, imagine. And these are 4 kids. These are 4 Kumaras are kids, children. So they have never been intoxicated, inebriated in their life. They're suddenly intoxicated, overwhelmed, completely agitated. Their senses are agitated. They don't know what sensual agitation means. They're agitated because it's so overpowering. So when the breeze carrying the aroma of the Tulsi leaves from the toes of the lotus feet entered the nostrils of those sages, they experienced a change both in body and in mind, even though they were attached to the impersonal Brahman understanding. So they were in impersonal Brahman understanding until they saw the form of Krishna and the feet. And even when they saw the feet of Krishna, they look at the face, but they couldn't stop looking at the feet. They'll keep looking at the feet. So when they're offering prayers to the Lord, they keep offering prayers to the feet in this particular chapter. So ultimately they say, we just want to serve your feet. So they say, we pray that you let us be, चाहे किसी भी hellish condition में पैदा करो, चाहे इस दुनिया में बार-बार जन्म लेना पड़े, but just as long as our hearts and minds are always engaged in the service of your lotus feet. अच्छा, हम अभी बात कर रहे थे तुलसी की. भगवान के चरणों में से तुलसी की खुशबू आती है. ये स्टेटमेंट ट्रू है या फॉल्स? फॉल्स है. क्यों? भगवान के चरणों में से तुलसी की खुशबू नहीं आती, तुलसी में से भगवान के चरणों की खुशबू आती है. तो तुलसी जो है, तुलसी में जो आप खुशबू पाते हो, that smell, that aroma, that fragrance is the smell of Krishna's feet. It's not like Tulsi is giving smell to Krishna's feet. It's that Krishna's feet is giving the aroma to Tulsi. So Tulsi is so aromatous. Tulsi is so fragrant because she lives at the feet of Krishna. वो भगवान के चरणों की खुशबू है. And that's our destination. So हम अच्छा अब दूसरी बात तुलसी के बारे में बात करें. So what is this? Everybody understand? I think you had a whole class about the tilak, right? This is tulsi leaf, right? So sometimes people ask, why do you have such a long tilak? Right? Not all sampradayas have this. So this is the feet of Krishna, and this is the tulsi residing at the feet of Krishna. तो पैरों पे devotee रहते हैं और हम अपने सर पे उनके कृष्णा के पैर और तुलसी महारानी को धारण करते हैं to remember that we are surrendered to the lotus feet of Krishna. And we hope that by putting Krishna's feet on our head, like Bali Maharaj ने बोला ना मेरे सर पे पैर रख दो, हमने अपने सर पे उनका पैर रखा है ताकि हमारे भी anarthas and everything can be killed from within. Everybody understands Hindi, right? If I switch to Hindi thoda beech mein. So that's the Mahima of Tulsi. That's why we serve Tulsi, because she lives at the feet of Krishna. She lives where we want to live. She's doing what we want to do. So we do not get entrance to Vaikuntha, to the spiritual world, we don't get access to the lotus feet of Krishna unless we are surrendered to pure devotees like Tulsi. So this is called Urdhva Pundra Tilak, where this is the feet of Krishna and this is the Tulsi Maharani. Okay. This is Vrindavan. Okay, Vrindavan की रज सबको पता है, व्रज रज, right? So जैसे हम जगन्नाथपुरी भी कहते हैं, जगन्नाथपुरी is famous because of the prasad. Now Jagannath ji doesn't show feet. He doesn't have feet. He doesn't have feet, right? He doesn't have hands either. But what do? You just you just stare into his big eyes because he's standing there in separation from this Vrindavan. He's standing there with his eyes open that my devotees will come and put me on the chariot and take me to Vrindavan. So you're just seeing this big king, this opulent king is sitting in this big temple and is being served by so many priests so opulently. जैसे कृष्णा बैठते हैं द्वारका में, लेकिन बैठते हैं in विरह भाव, in separation from, in विप्रलंबा from Vrindavan. तो वृंदावन की रज क्यों फेमस है? Because Krishna has done so many pastimes with his so many devotees. So सारी रज में, सारी dust में कृष्णा के पाँव उस पे उन्होंने लीलाएं की हैं, उनकी धूली उस पे लगी है. And not only of Krishna but also his pure devotees like gopis and Radha Rani and Mother Yashoda and Nand Maharaj and so many acharyas, so many Goswamis and our Prabhupada and Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj and everybody has served and lived in Vrindavan. So this is the importance of Raj Raj. So in different places in Jagannath Puri, the mercies is coming through prasad. Right? It's prasad, and we have some prasad from Jagannath Puri for everybody. So mercy is coming from prasad in Jagannath Puri, and in Vrindavan the mercy comes from Raj. That's why people bring Raj, the dust of Vrindavan, and sometimes they'll put in their gopi chandan and put on the tilak, or they'll bring Radha Kund dust and they'll mix in their gopi chandan and put on their head. So this is so let's take some pastimes from Vrindavan. Do you know who this is? Anybody knows who's this? Akrura. So Akrura, when came to get Krishna, because Kamsa Maharaj had sent him to get Krishna Balram, right? He was tired of sending all these demons, and demons were getting killed in Vrindavan. So he said, okay, let's take the home advantage out. Let's bring Krishna to my home ground and I'll kill him with the help of my, Chanur and Pushtek and the elephant and everything. So Akrura, as soon as he came, he immediately recognized this. This is a very nice, a beautiful portion of Srimad Bhagavatam, comes in 10th canto. He immediately recognized the footprints. How did he recognize? There are so many footprints. There may be footprints of somebody else, Gopas or someone. How did he know that these are the footprints of Krishna?
So the tulsi smell like
Charan-chin, the symbol. So not every feet can be passed off as Krishna's feet. He saw the symbols. And being a pure devotee of the Lord, he knew what symbols. So there are a total of 19 symbols on Krishna's feet. As soon as he saw, he immediately, so I'm reading a verse, it says, he immediately recognized as the footprints of Krishna. He brought his chariot to a screeching halt. For Akrura, it was like seeing Krishna himself. Because that's what we want, the feet. So he saw the feet and he jumped off from the chariot. He carefully got down so as not to muddle the feet and gently put his cheek against them. He started rolling. It is described in Bhagavatam. He started rolling in the mud when he saw those feet. So this is ecstasy. Simply by meditating on Krishna's lotus feet, one can go into ecstasy. So what are the symbols? Let's look at this. So these are symbols. We don't, I mean, some devotees even memorize them, but there are 19 symbols, 8 on the left foot and 11 on the right foot. So there is, you can see like shank hai, sky hai, bow hai, cow hoof, cow ka pair. There are these water pots, the half moon, the triangle or trikon, fish. So like that, there are many, and each has its meaning. I don't know much about these, but each has its meaning. And Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has given detailed meaning of Lord's feet. This is a more clear picture. So now these marks are not visible to everyone. These marks, like Akrura saw them, but let's say somebody else came. Let's say Duryodhan came. He won't be able to make out that these are feet of Krishna. So these marks are visible to devotees who receive the causeless mercy of the Supreme Lord. Okay. There is. There was a verse that I forgot to include, but anyways, we'll keep going. So similarly, another name for Krishna's feet is Tirthpad. Tirthpad, जहाँ पे सारे तीर्थ रहते हैं, तो हम किसी जगह को तीर्थ या धाम कब बोलते हैं? When do we say that certain place is a तीर्थ or a धाम? When Lord has done his pastimes there, right? The Supreme Lord has done his pastimes there, Leelas there. That then only it becomes dham or tirth. So where he has put his feet. So tirth means sanctified place, and pad means lotus feet of the Lord. And people go to these sanctified places to free themselves from all sinful reactions. So you can see how feet are so important to us, that they are going there. All these pure devotees are going there to become sanctified. So similarly, what makes a river holy? When Lord has touched the river with his feet. What makes his names divine? Right? Anything in connection with Krishna becomes divine, right? Or becomes holy. So this is another name, Tirthpad, for Krishna's feet. So this is what Akrura said. Oh, this is what I was looking for. This is what Akrura said. Akrura was saying thanks to Kamsa in his head. He's saying, today King Kamsa has shown me extreme mercy by sending me to see the lotus feet of the Lord Hari, who has now appeared in this world, simply by the effulgence of his toenails. A toenail is like moon. Many souls have transcended the insurmountable darkness of this material existence. These lotus feet are worshipped by Brahma, Shiva, and all other demigods, by the goddess of fortune. Lakshmi ji हमेशा भगवान के पैरों में सेवा करती हैं, पाद सेवा, right? And also by the great sages and Vaishnavas. Upon these lotus feet of the Lord walks about the forest while herding the cows with his companions. So ऐसे बहुत सारी बातें उन्होंने लिखी हैं. And then he says, this is the dust from my master's feet. Akrura jumped down from his chariot and began rolling about among those footprints. So see how beautiful this, mood of these devotees is. Raman Reti, okay, another place in Vrindavan. Some of you have been there, Raman Reti. So Raman Reti is a place in Gokul, okay. The pastime of Raman Reti comes when Krishna is of a certain age where he has to take cows to cows लेके जानी है instead of calf चराने के लिए. तो cows लेके जाने के लिए दूर जाना पड़ता है. Calf तो पास में लेके जाते थे, cows के लिए दूर जाना पड़ता है. So Mother Yashoda said, I'll make you shoes, because before you were going bare feet, now I'll make you shoes to go, because otherwise your feet will get hurt. So he said, I will wear shoes only if all my cows will wear shoes too. So can you make shoes for all these 900,000 cows? So Mother Yashoda said, forget it, just go bare feet. Okay? Cows heard this. So what did cows do? The whole place where they were supposed to go for their pasturing, they broke all the pebbles with their hoofs. The whole night until the morning comes, वो सारे pebbles को उन्होंने अपने पैरों से तोड़ा. So it is said this place has very, very soft sand, soft reet hai, Raman Reti. And Krishna and Balram have performed many, many pastimes here. They used to cow तो चराते ही थे और भी बहुत से उनके pastimes हैं. So रमन रेती में आप देख रहे हैं कैसे लोग मतलब ये देखो लोग इसमें भी लौटते हैं, लोग इसमें मतलब पूरा you can, so that's why it's recommended in Vrindavan. You don't need to wear shoes. You don't need to go bare feet. Go take dust everywhere on your body, collect it, everything. So people sit in it and roll about in it. But this is the glory of Raman Reti. It's in Gokul. Kaliya Daman, another pastime from Vrindavan. Okay. So this is very beautiful because Krishna, there are many demons Krishna killed. Kaliya, what did Krishna do? And this is significant for us. What did Krishna do? He danced on his hoods with his feet. So he subdued him. He did not kill him. Then later on, the Nag Patnis, the wives of Kalia, they were offering prayers. They were trying to pacify the Lord and tell him that please, let our husband go. But they were also envious of their husband. Why are they envious? Because he got the feet on his head, and he's so sinful, he's so envious, he's so poisonous, he's causing so much harm to the devotees, yet he got the feet on his head, and we are like devotees and we did not get any mercy. So they are envious. So what are they saying? Did her husband perform some austerities in a previous life with his mind free of pride and full of respect? Is that why you are pleased with him? Or did in some previous existence carefully execute some religious duties? Oh Lord, we do not know how serpent Kalia has attained this opportunity, great opportunity of being touched by the dust of your lotus feet. For this end, even Lakshmi Devi, goddess of fortune, performs austerities for centuries. लक्ष्मी देवी को आपके पैरों की सेवा करने के लिए सेंचुरीज तक ऑस्टेरिटीज करनी पड़ती है. वो इस पापी सांप को, पॉइजनस सांप को कैसे मिल गई वो धूली, वो डस्ट? Those who have attained the dust of your lotus feet never hanker for anything else. They don't want kingship of heaven. They don't want limitless sovereignty. मतलब अनंत काल तक आप रूल करो, किंग बन जाओ, वो भी नहीं चाहिए. Position of Brahma नहीं चाहिए. Rulership over the earth नहीं चाहिए. They're not interested even in perfection of yoga or liberation itself. Even mukti भी नहीं चाहिए. So this is what Nag Patnis are saying. So they're very but the lesson for us to learn is that when Krishna's feet are on your head, what does it do? It destroys all our envy, pride, this snake-like tendencies that we have. That's another reason why we put Krishna's lotus feet on our head. So we pray that all this envy and everything can be destroyed. Actually, it is said, whenever you see the deity, pay dandvat, and as many dandvats as we can do, and say pranam mantra. Because where does our pride lie in our body? Head. In our head. Head is a source of pride, right? If you think about it, especially hair, if you think about it, in every religion, there is something to do with hair. Huh? In our brahmacharis and sannyasis, they'll shave off their head, and because they're supposed to humble themselves, right? Because hair is such a strong symbol of pride that not only they shave off their head, keep a shikha, you keep a ponytail. How funny, right? But this is to humble you. And then 6, so sometimes you're said to clean up all the hair. Sometimes you are said to don't clean any hair. Sometimes you have to cover your hair. So many things are done. Different things. In different religions, something to do with hair is done. Why? So that you can humble yourself. So your pride goes down. So it may be different for different people, but something about hair is done. So our pride lies in our face, in our head. जैसे बोलते हैं नाक कट गई, कोई थोड़ा ना बोलता कि हाथ कट गया, पैर कट गया, नाक ही कटती है हमेशा, right? Because the pride lies in the head. So that's why you have to put your head down to the feet of Krishna, that you take my pride away. So that's why we should do pranam. So that is the reason to do pranam at the feet of Krishna, and with your head. So the head अच्छे से touch करके, heart touch करके, so we do dandvat pranam, the head and heart. So think about, we have one head and we have so much pride. Think about Brahma ji or some, who has 4 heads or multiple heads. So it is described, this scene is described, that when demigods visit the Lord and all that they are wearing mukuts, all their heads go down, it makes such a tumultuous sound. क्योंकि सबके मुकुट नीचे से टकराते हैं टंग करके, और जब सब ब्रह्मा जी आते हैं मिलने तो सब बहुत जोर से साउंड होती है, क्योंकि इतना but everybody does Dandvat pranam. Okay, so next thing, this is most beautiful out of all this whole thing, Gopi Geet. So Gopi Geet, that it was sung by gopis when they were doing Ras Leela, and for a few moments Krishna hid himself. Krishna always is playful, so he hid himself. So for a few moments they were separated from him. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 31st comes the Gopi Geet. Okay, it's very beautiful. Everybody, we have been reciting it in the month of Kartik. Every day we should be recited. So like that, we should recite, memorize, whatever you can do. But the mood is that gopis are meditating on the feet of the Lord. Okay, look at this. They say, and they use different words for Krishna's feet. They say, Pranat Dehinam Papakarshanam Trinacharanugam Sriniketanam Panikarpitam Te Padambujam Krinukucheshuna Krindirichayam. So, Fadi Fanarpitam. Fadi Fanarpitam kaun hai? Kalia. Kalia. On whom you put your lotus feet destroy the sins of all embodied souls. Those feet follow the cows in the pasture and are the eternal abode of the goddess of fortune, Shri Niketanam. यहाँ पे श्री वास करती हैं, श्री निकेतनम. तो सारे प्योर डिवोटीज कहाँ रह रहे हैं? भगवान के चरणों में. शिव जी अपने सर पे भगवान का चरणामृत लेते हैं, तुलसी उनके पैरों में रहती हैं, लक्ष्मी जी उनके पैरों में रहते हैं, सारे प्योर डिवोटीज उनको दंडवत करते हैं, राइट? So in this way they are glorifying Krishna's feet. So this deep meditation on Krishna's feet, okay, this is then in the last verse they say, I'm sorry, in the last verse they say, I'm sorry, I don't, so I put this because this, if you hear the last verse you will understand. Last verse they say, Yatte sujata charanam buruham staneshu भीतै शनै कर्कमयि दधिमहि कर्कशेषु तेनाटविम्मटसि यद्व्यथितं न किं स्वेत् कूर्पादिभिर्भ्रमतिधिर्भवदायुषाम्ना. What are gopis saying? Please come, and each every verse they are saying this, but especially in that verse they are saying Yatte sujata charanam buruham staneshu, that we want to put your lotus feet on our bosom, on our chest. They are saying that your feet are softer than our chest and they'll get hurt by the pebbles. So please put them here because you, आप सारा दिन गाय चराते हो, आपके पैरों में चोट लगती है, and we want to, tenderly take care of them. So they want to put his feet on their body. This beautiful song, Kanhaiya, Kanhaiya, Pukara Karenge, लताओं में व्रज के निहारा करेंगे, कभी तो मिलेंगे वो बाके बिहारी, उन्हीं के चरण चित लगाया करेंगे. उनके चरण चित लगाने हैं. तो that whole song is based on गोपी गीत. तो वो कह रहे हैं कि हम आपके चरण चित पे लगाएंगे. इसके दो मतलब है. Gopis का mood is that they want to take care of the feet of Krishna. But for us, what does it mean? For us, it means what it meant for Kubja. What did it mean? When Krishna went to visit Kubja, you remember? Kubja had lusty desires for him. And she asked to fulfill them. What did Krishna do? He took his foot and put it on her chest. Immediately she was purified. Immediately she became a pure devotee and she gave up everything and she was purified of those desires. So for us, when gopis say this, it means that when we जब चरण को चित्त पे लगाते हैं, चरण सर पे लगाए हमने, अपना सर उनके चरणों में रखा, अब हम चरण चित्त पे क्यों लगा रहे हैं कि हमारे हार्ट में जो भी कंटामिनेशन है, जो भी डर्ट है, प्लीज क्लीन इट. Please clean it, clean all the unwanted qualities, unwanted desires, impure anarthas, everything. Please clean all that lust, greed, envy, pride, ego, anger, everything from our heart. So this is the mood. And they're deeply meditating on Krishna's feet, right? So then what happens? Is Krishna separated from them? Is Krishna separated from us right now? Yes, we are separated, or rather we are separated from Krishna. So they are meditating on his feet, following in the footsteps of acharyas, the topmost acharya gopis. We should also meditate on Krishna's feet. And then what happens? Then the song finishes. And Shukdev Goswami says, they were crying loudly. What do they say? Iti gopya pragayantya pralapantyascha chitradha रुरुधु सुस्वरम राजन कृष्ण दर्शन लालसा. गोपीज रो रही हैं, रुरुधु सुस्वरम राजन, जोर जोर से रो रही हैं. Krishna darshan lalasa. After meditating on the lotus feet for so long, the whole gopi geet, then they are crying. And how do we cry for Krishna? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So they are crying. They cry. Rurudhu suswaram rajan, Krishna darshan lalasa. And then what happens? Tasama vira bhutshari, smaimana mukhambuja, pitambara dhara shragvi, sakshat manmata. And Krishna appeared from behind a tree. So can this happen for us? Yes. Meditate on his lotus feet, cry loudly, chant the names of Krishna loudly, and then he will appear with a big smile from ear to ear. He appeared. So that's those two verses. We always sing those two verses. If you remember, at the end of Gopi Geet, even though Gopi Geet finished, we were still singing those two verses because that's our prayojan, our goal, our culmination. Krishna has to appear. So gopis were separated. Now Krishna has to appear. So this is a part of this world where people think that our feet matter and we should not put them on the ground. But actually, we need to really use our feet in service of Krishna Pad Seva, right? So how to attain? Okay, so Krishna's feet, we understand they can cure all the sins, they can purify of all the anarthas, they can decontaminate us, they are the shelter of this whole material world. All the pure devotees, we have taken so many examples that have taken shelter of the lotus feet. So then how to attain? So I think so this is Padashraya, how to take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. This is what Parikshit Maharaj did. What did he do? King, who was the worthy descendant of the Pandavas, sat on the Ganges bank to fast until death and gave himself up to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. What did Parikshit Maharaj do? Sitting on the Ganga. Heard Srimad Bhagavatam. So, how do we surrender to the lotus feet of Krishna? Hear Srimad Bhagavatam, cry like gopis were crying by chanting, right? So Srimad Bhagavatam, like I told you, the first two cantos are the feet of the Lord. Third and fourth canto are like the legs. Fifth and sixth are the thighs. Like that, it goes up. And then 10th canto is the lalat, the face of the Lord. 11th is the forehead. 12th is the head. Like that. So Prabhupada always said that we have to study the Bhagavatam systematically. He keeps saying this in many, many verses. He keeps saying this purports that study the Bhagavatam systematically from Canto 1 through 9. Do not jump to Canto 10. Do not go to the face of Krishna. And that's what we were talking about. Always take darshan from the feet of Krishna. Don't go to the face. Similarly, reading Srimad Bhagavatam, start from the basics. Start from Canto 1. So, and then we have to develop Padruchi. We have to develop taste. So today we understood why they are important. Now we should start developing Padruchi, taste for Krishna's feet. And then we'll try to aspire for Dhuli, Padhuli, Krishna's dust of the feet, right? How can we get dust of the Krishna's feet? By getting dust of the lotus feet of devotees and Guru and Vaishnavas, right? And Padashra, and ultimately we'll get Padashra. So this I already explained to you. Vaishnav Tilak is the symbol of Krishna's lotus feet on our head. And we are basically like Kalia, that we want all our pride, all our anarthas to be killed. Just like he danced on the feet, on the hoods of Kalia, we want him to dance on our head and kill all the anarthas. Also depicts our surrender to the Supreme Lord. Padaravindam. I hope somebody is taking notes of the synonyms that we used. Huh? I know there were so many. As long as you were somewhat aware. So this is when demigods went to visit Krishna in Dwarka one day. So this is what I was talking about, how they bow down. Demigods bow down at your lotus feet. So whenever they visit, you have to bow down. Whenever you visit Krishna, whenever you go to your own temple, you have to bow down, and say the pranam mantra. So actually Brahmaji also says, so bowing down, it's not like a ritual. It's not just you just bow down. You have to offer your mind, body and words, heart, body and words, right? Brahmaji says, Tattenu kampam susamekshamano gunjana evatma kritam vipakam rid vag vapurbhir vidhan namaste. Rid, vag, heart, word, vapu. Rid, vag, vapurbhir vidhan namaste. I offer my obeisances to you. Okay. Jivet mukti pade sodaya bhag. Whoever lives in this way is qualified to achieve your mercy. So जो ऐसे रहता है वो दया भाग है, वो qualified है to receive the mercy. This I think we have already covered these pastimes. So Lakshmi ji is doing Pad Sevnam, and these are the two limbs of devotional service, two of the very high limbs, Pad Sevnam and Atma Nivednam. How can you serve the feet of the Lord? By serving the devotees, by serving Bhagavatam, by serving your chanting, by serving Guru, by serving Prashadam, by going to the temples, right? By going to the temples, by doing parikrama outside around the temple, around the deities, around the dham, right? Around Govardhan, around all the kundas, you can do parikrama. Honoring Prashadam. So Pada Sevnam. Atmanivednam, we heard, is a complete surrender. So Bali Maharaj actually perfected it. So these are the two best examples. Lakshmi Devi perfects her life by Pad Sevnam, and Bali Maharaj perfects his life by surrendering everything. Atmanivednam. Padam Bhoja. So Amboj also means lotus. So this comes back to the same thing. I think we're finishing now in a few minutes. Devotees of the Lord are accustomed to licking up the honey available from the feet of the Lord. What is the use of topics that simply waste one's valuable life? So they're also saying the same thing, that we lick the honey at the feet of your Lord. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, actually, the song that you were singing today, he basically that mood, Maro bhi rakho bhi, some words like that were coming, right? Jo ichha tomar. So in this mood, gopis also say the same thing, that Ashlishyava padratam pinashtumam Adarshanam marmatam karotu va Yatha tatava vidadatu lampato Mat prananathastu saevana para. अदर्शनम, कि आप चाहे मुझे ना दिखाई दो, लेकिन फिर भी आई एम अ सोल सरेंडर अनटू यू. यथा तथा वो जैसे भी ट्रीट करो, राखो भी मारो भी, जैसे भी ट्रीट करो, आई एम ऑलवेज सरेंडर टू यू. So this, brings a point. Sometimes we think that it is very important for us to take darshan of Krishna. It is actually not as important to take darshan of Krishna. It is more important that Krishna is eager to see you. It's not as important that you see Krishna. So even if he's hiding, even if he's separated himself from you, or you're separated from him, like gopis were separated, the point is that you need to still cry for him like they were crying. Rurudu Swaram Rajan, loudly cry for him through your chanting. And finally, we come back to Shivji. This is the song sung by Lord Shiva in Canto 4 of Bhagavatam. He says, he glorifies the feet by saying, my dear Lord, this is the last slide, so we'll finish, and please think of any questions. My dear Lord, your two lotus feet are so beautiful that they appear like two blossoming petals of the lotus flower, which grows during the autumn season. Indeed, the nails of your lotus feet emanate such a great effulgence that they immediately dissipate all the darkness in the heart of a conditioned soul. My dear Lord, kindly show me that form of yours which always dissipates all kinds of darkness in the heart of a devotee. My dear Lord, you are the supreme spiritual master of everyone. Therefore, all conditioned souls covered in darkness of ignorance can be enlightened by you. So he's also glorifying the Pad Sharat Padma Palasha Rochasha. And so in this way he glorifying the feet of Krishna, the nails, the toes, on the nails and the toes of Krishna. So this is our Vaishnavanam Yathashambhu. But that's all I have. All these, you can see the great, wonderful devotees that have lived at the feet of the Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam, which is none other than the depiction of the personification, Grantha Avatar of Krishna. Lord Brahmaji, who offers prayers unto the feet of Krishna. The first words that we all read, Samashtritaye Pad Pallava Plavam, that was offered by Brahmaji, right? Tatte Nukampam Susamikshman, all these are offered by Brahmaji. Shivji, who takes the Charnamrit of Vishnu on his head. Gopis, who are praying, meditating on the feet of Krishna. Tulsi Maharani, that lives at the feet of Krishna and gets this beautiful aroma, right? So by staying at the feet of Krishna, how aromatous, how fragrant you will become. So that's why people that live at the feet of Krishna, pure devotees, are always very, spiritually fulgent and beautify the whole world, just like Tulsi Maharani. And Lakshmi ji, Mother Lakshmi, always serving the feet. And Akrura starts rolling on the dust, puts his cheek on the feet of Krishna. But that's all I have. Thank you everyone for listening patiently. I'll stop here. Any questions, comments, curiosity, concerns, anything, please share. Realizations. Yes, Prabhuji.
Any specific significance of that posture of Krishna's feet, like he always cross-legged?
Tribhang Lalit form. It's called Tribhang Lalit form. So he's bent. It's called threefold bending posture. So he's bent in three ways. So Prabhuji, the philosophical significance of this, I do not know the. I know the philosophical significance. I do not know the lila of it or rasa of it, but the philosophy is mentioned that Krishna बहुत टेढ़े हैं, ठीक है? तो वो लेकिन उनको डिवोटीज कैसे पसंद है? सीधे, सिंपल, ठीक है? लेकिन वो खुद बहुत टेढ़े हैं. वो हमारा जो दिल है, अगर सीधा साफ होता है तो उसमें घुस जाते हैं, क्योंकि वो टेढ़े हैं तो वो निकलते नहीं, घुसते बहुत मुश्किल से हैं. लेकिन जब एक बार घुसते हैं तो क्योंकि वो टेढ़े हैं, टेढ़े खड़े हो निकलेंगे नहीं, फंस जाएंगे। ऐसा ऐसा मेटाफोरिकली या फिलोसफिकली ऐसा एक्सप्लेन किया जाता है कि उनका जो त्रिभंग ललित फॉर्म है वो पहले हमारे दिल में आता नहीं है, समझ में नहीं आता लोगों को कृष्णा की लीलाएं, उनकी शिक्षाएं या but once you develop the attraction and the attachment and affinity and you absorb yourself and Krishna enters into your heart, the love for Krishna is reawakened, then he doesn't come out. Then चाहे तू दोबारा भी कोशिश करो material world में रमने की, रम नहीं पाओगे, you'll keep coming back towards Krishna because he's now stuck there, you won't come out. तो ऐसा मुझे ऐसा पता, but if you have any other understandings, please share.
It's also a very relaxed form, right? जैसे कृष्णा है, ये जो उनका मुरली मनोहर रूप होता है, this is a very relaxed form. The other forms of gods, अगर आप देखिए, no other deity is in this form. Right? Another way it is described is Krishna, like being the supreme personality of Godhead, he doesn't have any work that he has to do. Somebody once said that a foreigner was looking at the different forms of Hindu demigods and everybody. Saying finally, looking at this form, he said the form of Krishna, that this must be the supreme God. Why? Because he's the most carefree, doesn't have anything to do, doesn't have any the CEO of the company, the highest hota hai, that is the most comfortably situated, not tense, not even Krishna in other forms. If Krishna in Dwarka as Dwarkadhish, he's not in this ribbon form. He's standing straight on both feet because that is his form when he has a job. He's the king.
He said that the foreigner said that I will believe in a god if he dances and sings. And then when he came to our Krishna temples, Radha Krishna temples, and he saw, he said, "Oh, I believe this is definitely the supreme personality of God." I agree. Just like you said, because he's not tense or he has no burden on him. He has no work to do. He's relaxed. He's always doing his leelas in Vrindavan.
He said Krishna never leaves. It's a shloka that he never leaves Vrindavan actually. His other forms, and that whole description is described in Srimad Bhagavatam. How everything comes from him, emanates from him.
Vrindavanam parityajte padam ekam nagachati. I do not leave Vrindavan. I don't step one foot out of the Vrindavan. Any other questions?
What does Jagannath form of Krishna signifies?
माताजी इसके लिए कल की क्लास करनी पड़ेगी। और जगन्नाथ जी की बहुत बहुत मधुर, मतलब हमने इसमें पिछले साल 4 सेशन किए थे, 4 या 5, 4-5 hours each to understand the form of जगन्नाथ जी। बहुत ही रस भरी बात है। Like once you understand this, like initially you don't understand the form of Jagannath ji or develop attraction for him. Once you understand the form of Jagannath ji, that's like it's wonderful. It's so merciful. It's a long story, very long story. Any other questions?
Like you cannot take your eyes off. But in the temple, especially when you stare in its eyes,
Yeah.
you cannot.
आंखों में डूब जाओ.
Yeah, you just don't want to leave that place.
और कोई questions? Yes.
No, Mataji, I just can take.
Yes, Naveen.
This isn't that much related, but why does Lord Shiva have a moon on his head?
चंद्रमा क्यों धारण करते हैं, मैं इसके पूरा ठीक से पढ़ के बताऊंगी या तो। If anybody has any understanding, please tell me. हाँ.
He took the poison in his throat because it was like so it burned him kind of. So the
उसका शीतल होता है. हाँ, सब मुझे.
There is also another description of it. It's actually saving Chandrama from some. There was a curse or something happening that he was.
That part I'm not.
He was actually saved by Lord Shiva, by that I will give you shelter.
इसकी कहानी है कि why did he put Chandrama on his head. चलिए माता जी का क्वेश्चन थोड़ा सा आंसर करते हैं. It's so beautiful in 2 minutes. बहुत कंसाइज करके. This is a whole लीला. जगन्नाथ जी, ओके. कैसे करें इसको कंसाइज? ओके. ये पूरी लीला आती है, पूरी कहानी आती है कि कृष्ण वृंदावन छोड़ के चले गए, अक्रूरा उनको लेने आए, हमने अभी देखा ना, और कृष्णा चले गए। इतनी लीलाएं की थी, सब लोग रोते रह गए और कृष्णा चले गए। एंड ही प्रॉमिस्ड आई विल कम बैक, ही नेवर केम बैक। 100 years he did not come back. After 100 years, Krishna sent a letter to Vrindavan Vasis, Brajvasis, that I am coming to Kurukshetra. So Dwarka, Vrindavan, बीच में पड़ता है कुरुक्षेत्र, मैं बीच में आ रहा हूँ, मुझसे मिलने आओ। सारे ब्रजवासी चल पड़े कुरुक्षेत्र के लिए, और कृष्णा भी आ गए, अपना सारा जो उनका एंटुराज रेटिन्यू लेके, पूरा वो तो ही इज अ किंग है ना। ये सब लोग कुरुक्षेत्र में मिलते हैं। कुरुक्षेत्र में मिलते हैं तो राधा रानी उनको देख रही हैं, सब गोपीज उनको देख रही हैं। वो सोच रहे थे कि ये त्रिभंग ललित श्याम सुंदर रूप होगा, जिसपे पीकॉक फेदर होता है, सब गोपास होंगे उनके चारों तरफ, फ्लूट होगी उनके हाथ में, लेकिन वो कुछ भी नहीं था, ना तो कोई फ्लूट थी, उसकी जगह कुछ वेपन था। पीकॉक फेदर की जगह कुछ टर्बन थी ना। ही इज इन अ वेरी रॉयल ऑपुलेंट आउटफिट, नॉट लाइक सिंपल पीताम्बर वेश में नहीं थे, सिंपल वो जो होता है उत्तरिया और वो उसमें नहीं थे, पर बहुत ऑपुलेंट राजसी वेश में थे। And there was no gopas, there were all these soldiers and है ना, ऐसे लोग थे। तो राधा रानी बोलती हैं, ये वर्स हमने किया है कई बार, राधा ये कई बार आती है ये वर्स। राधा रानी बोलती हैं कि तुम वही कृष्णा हो, मैं वही राधा हूँ। हाँ, ये वही मूनलिट नाइट है चैत्रा की, ये वही रेवती है, यही वही तमाल का पेड़ है, लेकिन मुझे वो फीलिंग नहीं आ रही, मुझे तुम्हें वापस वृंदावन लेके जाना है। अब ये वृंदावन वासी कार्ट पे आए थे, तो इन्होंने सोचा कि हम कार्ट पे बिठा के कृष्णा को ले जाएंगे। गलत सोचना, ठीक है। सो उन्होंने सोचा लेके जाएंगे, और कृष्णा भी जाना चाहते थे, है ना। सो दैट कृष्णा इन द्वारका हु इज इन सेपरेशन फ्रॉम वृंदावन, okay, that Krishna whose eyes are so big when he sees the gopis and cowherd boys and all his friends and Nand Maharaj and Yashoda Maiya, that Krishna in that mood of opulence but inside separation from Vrindavan is Jagannath ji. So what happens, how did this form come about? तो ये तो रथ लीला की कहानी है कि जब सारे डिवोटीज उनको रथ पे बिठा के वापस लेके जाना चाहते हैं वृंदावन, हाँ, लेकिन लेके जा नहीं सकते, लेकिन हम अब लेके जाते हैं, हम लेके जाते हैं। इसलिए जो जगन्नाथ जी है उसको द्वारका माना जाता है, और गुंडिचा जहां तक रथ जाता है उसको वृंदावन। सो डिवोटीज क्या कर रहे हैं, जगन्नाथ जी को रथ पे बिठाकर लेके जा रहे हैं वृंदावन, है ना। इसीलिए हमारे लिए जगन्नाथ जी क्या है, वो द्वारकाधीश कृष्णा है, जो एक राजा है, जो जिनको इतनी सेवा मिलती है वहां के प्रीस्ट से, इतनी ऑपुलेंट सेवा मिलती है, 56 भोग लगते हैं, देवी देवता रात में उनको मिलने आते हैं, और वो अलग से अपना भोग, कपड़े, ज्वेलरी, पता नहीं क्या क्या लाते हैं। बहुत ऑपुलेंट सेवा होती है, लोग उनको देख नहीं सकते, इतनी भीड़ होती है, राजा है वो। लेकिन वो इतनी बड़ी बड़ी आंखों से खड़े वेट कर रहे हैं कि मेरे डिवोटीज आएंगे और मुझे वृंदावन लेके जाएंगे। वो वृंदावन से विरह में है, सेपरेशन में है, वो जगन्नाथ जी, ठीक है। तो इसमें हुआ क्या था, जगन्नाथ जी की फॉर्म कैसे आई थी ये बता देती हूँ। अभी किसी और युग की बात है, किसी और कल्पा की बात है। एक बार द्वारका में, जस्ट 2 मिनट्स, एक बार द्वारका में सारी जो उनकी वाइफ्स थी कृष्णा की, 16,108 रानियां, उन्होंने कहा ये कृष्णा को क्या होता है, कभी कभी रात में उठ के राधा या किसी भी यशोदा या किसी भी मधुमंगल, अर्जुन सखा, किसी किसी का नाम लेता है, जो ये वृंदावन के लोग हैं, ये लोग कौन है, ये ललिता, विशाखा, ये सब लोग कौन है। तो हमें इनके बारे में कुछ पता करना चाहिए, हमारा पति रात में ऐसे क्यों करता है। तो उन्होंने कहा किससे पूछें। तो उन्होंने पूछा, वहां पे एक व्यक्ति, एक लेडी थी, एक व्यक्ति, वो कौन थी, मदर रोहिणी, बलराम जी की मदर, who was the only one there who had seen all these pastimes happen in Vrindavan, क्योंकि वो वृंदावन से अभी आए हैं ना यहाँ पे, तो उनको सारे वो pastimes पता थे। तो उन्होंने कहा मैं तुम्हें वृंदावन की कहानियां सुनाती हूँ, आ जाओ। सारी 16,108 रानियां उनके अराउंड बैठ गई, हाँ, और मदर रोहिणी उनको कहानियां सुना रही हैं। लेकिन उन्होंने कहा एक शर्त है, make sure Krishna Balram do not hear any of these pastimes, so somebody needs to guard the door and close the door. So सुभद्रा ने कहा मैंने तो ये सारी कहानियां मुझे पता है, मैं डोर गार्ड करती हूँ। वो डोर गार्ड करने लगी, मदर रोहिणी कहानियां सुनाने लगी। जब सुभद्रा डोर गार्ड कर रही थी तो वो सुनने लग गई, and she became completely overwhelmed and mesmerized. So her eyes dilated, her limbs started shrinking in her body, hair disappeared, हाँ, the smile went from ear to ear, हाँ, और ऐसे फॉर्म में वो खड़ी हैं, completely mesmerized, captivated by the Vraj Leelas, कि कृष्णा और बलराम, you know, Krishna and Balram can hear the transcendental Hari Katha anywhere. That's why we are doing Hari Katha. They can hear. They came running क्योंकि व्रजलीला चल रही है, वो आए भागते हुए और उन्होंने देखा ये सुभद्रा का रूप और खुद सुनने लगे और उनको भी यही ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन होने लगे। अष्ट विकार जो हमें आते हैं ना, सारे लिम्स अंदर जाने लगे, आईज डायलेट हो गई, स्माइल इतनी बड़ी हो गई, ईयर्स डिसअपियर एंड द हेयर डिसअपियर एंड कंप्लीटली डायलेटेड आईज, हाँ लाल रंग की आंखें ऐसे हो गई। तो जब ऐसे तीन लोग खड़े हैं दरवाजे पे इस तरीके से, तभी नारद मुनि आए और नारद मुनि ने उनका ये रूप देख लिया और उन्होंने एकदम से दंडवत किया। दंडवत करते हैं ना, हमने अभी पढ़ा दंडवत करना होता है। दंडवत किया तो उनका वो जो ट्रांस था वो ब्रेक हो गया। they came out of this ecstasy, this and came out to external consciousness. When they came out, so Narad Muni said, Lord, what was this form of yours? This was so beautiful. Why have I never seen this form before? So Lord said, I've never manifested this form before, but you cannot tell anyone about this. This is so confidential. This is my, intimate form. This is intimate manifestation of my bhav. You cannot tell anyone about it. So Narad Muni ne kaha, nahi, main nahi bataunga, lekin everybody needs to see this merciful form of yours, this form in separation from Vrindavan. अब समझ में आया कि separation क्यों है वृंदावन से। ये द्वारकाधीश कृष्णा को वृंदावन से विराह है, बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग विराह है, और ब्रजलीला सुनते हैं तो ये रूप में आ जाते हैं, जगन्नाथ जी के रूप में। तो उन्होंने कहा ठीक है, मैं किसी युगा में, कल युगा में, किसी युगा में मैं ये फॉर्म, नॉट कल युगा, किसी युगा में, किसी ब्रह्मा जी की, जब ब्रह्मा जी 50 इयर्स के हो जाएंगे, 51 ईयर्स से मैं जगन्नाथ ये इस फॉर्म में आऊंगा, इस जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा की फॉर्म में आऊंगा। सो दिस इज the three lordships, the brothers, two brothers and a sister who are hearing Braj Leelas, and then the devotees put them on the cart and take them to Vrindavan. So this is the brief pastime. There are a long story about it, but this is the brief story.
It's like that those stories are still going on. They haven't ended yet. Like all those leelas, so that's why they are listening. Still, they are listening and getting mesmerized in those stories.
Yes, Madhuri, the leelas don't end. They're eternal. Lord's pastimes are eternal. So the pastimes keep going on all the time. So they may not be manifest to our eyes, to our vision, but the leelas are always going on. Any other? Did this help you, Madhuri? Okay. So once you understand, this is a king standing in separation from devotees, and we have to become devotees like that. So that he's standing there eager to get our darshan. He wants us to put him on the cart and take him. So now when you do Rath Yatra, you will know you're taking Krishna back to Vrindavan, to make our heart like Vrindavan. Take him in.
माता जी, जैसे हमेशा भगवान के चरणों तक हम किसी डिवोटी की हेल्प से या गुरु की हेल्प से पहुंचते हैं, लेकिन जब अक्रूर जी ने कहा कि कंस की कृपा से मुझे उनके चरणों का दर्शन मिला,
तो ये सब तो माता जी भगवान की लीला में पार्ट करते हैं ना, प्ले। उनके डिवोटीज ही नेगेटिव रोल प्ले करने आते हैं. His dearest devotees come and play the villains. So it's not. But yes, you're very right. So it said, Bhakt Pad Dhuli or Bhakt Pad Jal, Bhakt Bhukt Avashesh, Teen Mahabal. There are three forces in this world. Bhakt Pad Dhuli, the dust of the feet of the devotees. Bhakt Pad Jal, the water that washes the feet of the devotees. And Bhakt Bhukt Avashesh, the remnants left over by the devotees. So pure devotees. But we don't take it without their permission. So any pure devotees, we don't take any of these things, these three things without their permission. You have to have their permission. Don't steal it. Anything?
What is that? Can you please repeat?
Bhakt Pad Dhuli, so the dust of the Bhakt feet. Bhakt Pad Jal, the water that washes the feet of the devotees. भक्त भुक्त अवशेष, जो खाया हुआ उसका लेफ्ट ओवर रेमनेंट है, जैसे प्रसाद होता है, बिकॉज दिस इज महाप्रसाद. भगवान का जो होता है भोगा, दैट इज प्रसाद, दिस इज महाप्रसाद. भक्त भुक्त अवशेष, जैसे हमें विमला देवी का प्रसाद मिलता है जगन्नाथ टेम्पल से, जो हम लाते हैं, दिस इज महाप्रसाद. तो भक्त भुक्त अवशेष आरा तीन महाबल. दीज आर द थ्री very strong, spiritually powerful. They give you spiritual strength. That's how Narad Muni, yes. Narad Muni achieved perfection of life just by eating the remnants of the food left by the 4 Bhakti Vedantas that he was serving, right? So Bhakta Bhukta Vishesh. But we have been taught the etiquettes to not take it, do not steal these things. We ask permission, and like we are given. Like sometimes we get Mahaprasad from pure devotees, so they give. Gundicha Marjana. Yeah, somebody stole Mahaprabhu's water and was giving it around to everyone. So Mahaprabhu got very upset. Okay, any other
Is that also one of the reason that you're not supposed to touch the feet
Yes.
of the acharya unless you have a permission?
Other reason is that we are very sinful karmi people. Whenever you touch somebody's feet, you're transferring your karma to them because that person is accepting your karma. So this tradition of touching people's feet, वो बहुत ज़्यादा वो devotees को नहीं बोलते, recommended है in Vaishnav etiquette books. I think you remember we read it.
Yeah.
So
We can do Danvat, only just
don't touch the feet.
दूर से, yeah.
प्रभुपाद के जैसे feet थे, उनकी मर्जी से ही touch कर सकते थे. So his pure disciples would have access to the feet, not.
माताजी आपने वो वाली बात क्या बताई थी? वो मैं समझ नहीं पाई थी जब वामन जी का दूसरा चरण ऊपर पहुंचा था.
तो वो उनका जो nail था नख से वो covering of the universe got pierced. So the Karna causal ocean, you know, in which Mahavishnu lies, Karnadaksha Vishnu lies in Karna ocean, the few drops of the causal ocean entered into the material world. That's Ganga. That's Mother Ganga. Yes.
Where was the first step?
Just the earth, the whole material world on his head.
Second one was in the
Chaliye, I think we should, yes.
What you just said, if we go into the temple, the Prabhupada ji ke feet, so should we just do Danvat Pranam or should we touch his?
वो तो deity के तो आप कर ही सकते हो ना, हाँ, deity live person का ऐसे अलग है, पर वहाँ पे तो प्रभुपाद के feet के चरण रखे जाते हैं, feet रखे जाते हैं, उसको आप touch कर सकते हो अच्छे से, वो flowers offer करते हैं, touch कर सकते हैं. What else? Good. We'll stop. We'll do Prashadam prayers. Let's stop. So. Okay, thank you everyone. Vancha kaltarubhischa kripa sindhubheva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah.